Greetings and welcome to the 75th, it's already been 75 episodes of the You Had Me at Halo podcast, just a day after the launch of a major update to Halo Infinite. Joining me today is, of course, my co-host, Nick. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty well.
Hopefully we don't have as many technical issues, or any, hopefully, as we had last time. I've been a little more careful this time. And actually, I put a little bit of work into making the stream look a little nicer. See that? There's a bit of an animated infection background. Oh man! But anyways, let us know if there's any issue with the voice, or if there's a delay, or if I'm a robot again, or anything like that. Today's show, we are breaking the curse. I'm saying that right now. We are. It's gonna be a short episode. It's going to be quick. It's going to be to the point. We're going to discuss Season 4. We're going to discuss some of the latest comments on Halo by some Microsoft execs. And that's it.
Will so 75 be the one we go short?
75 is it. This is the one. We wanted to do something this episode. We didn't, but we'll make it a short episode instead. And Nick, anything you got to say before we get started?
I guess just stay tuned in to the end. We're going to have a... pretty exciting announcement that we teased a little bit last episode rather.
Mm-hmm.
So be sure to stick around, and if we break the curse, you won't have to stick around long.
Exactly. Okay, so diving right into it, we'll start off with the big topic, which is Season 4 Infection. Now, it's literally only been one friggin' day since the game's been out. So I know since the update's been out, I know I myself really haven't had that long with it. But let's do it. Let's first talk about Infection itself. Nick, have you played the mode already?
Yes, I played a few games. Also, before I get into it, I just turned on my fan because it is freaking hot here.
Yeah, my fan is on too, because we live pretty close to each other. What the hell is it with these days?
I don't know, but it's pretty warm out here, and my AC unit's working overtime, so I have a fan. So if you hear it, just let me know, and I'll have it on the lower setting now. But
mix it does. I mean, literally, it's been out a day. Hence why the title of the episode is early impressions of Season 4. But okay, Infection, the mode itself. I've gotten maybe 4 or 5 Infection games in by the time it released. Let's start with you though. What do you think? What initial impressions right away?
I think I managed to get couple games in. I like it. It's kind of hard to do it first impressions because we did have a little glimpse of it at our community nights. So for opportunities like that, be sure to show up to them every Wednesday at 7:30.
Yep, which every other Wednesday. Every other
Wednesday. So I like it. It definitely feels like the classic mode. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm glad they finally introduced it back.
Yeah. I mean, Infection is right away. I will say that it kind of feels like it's a mode that's really best played with a group of people. It's still pretty fun on your own, definitely, especially considering they've made some alterations, like some of the maps, which always adds variety to it. I didn't play Infection too much in previous Halos, maybe here and there if I saw it. For the most part, I'd beeline straight to Action Sack, and that would be my go-to mode. But one thing I think this kind of shows again is that with 343 with Halo Infinite, they're putting their own spin in a way on a lot of these previous modes. Right away, the Alpha Infected are invisible if they move slowly or crouch. And they start with the drop wall. Sorry, the camo
shroud.
The shroud. Yeah, sorry, the shroud, which is a little different than previous ones.
In some modes, I believe in the earlier renditions of Infection,
they were invisible.
One where it's it was kind of one of the more least common ones. I mean, the typical one is the Alpha typically has a little bit more health, so it's a little bit harder to kill. But trade-off being that you can always see them. So now the trade-off is you're invisible, but still.
In a way, it kind of feels like, remember that Spies mode for a little while? I don't remember what it was called, but it was in one of the seasons. I think Winter Update had it as its main mode. where they had camo versus threat sensor.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a whole mode based on that. It feels like they kind of wanted to channel a little bit of that again in the beginning of this, with everyone spawning with threat sensor, 4 threat sensors, and the 2 alpha infected are immediately invisible.
I,
But right
I
away,
wish I wish the threat sensor didn't reveal you if you're invisible. Oh man, I would have had because they people what I realized is they spam the shit out of that
dude,
in
right,
that mode.
right,
It's like you
and
cannot get close.
man, people are good. People playing Halo these days are good at the damn game. So even in like a pretty friggin' casual mode like Infected, like people will be playing pretty good. Okay, here's I guess the biggest thing is the equipment you start with if you're not an alpha infected, right? Every single time you spawn in, you have the new equipment for season 4, which I forgot to put in our notes.
Translocated?
Quantum
translate. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that teleports you back.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of I've used it now in like a normal mode too. I picked it up in a regular Slayer game, and I've used it obviously as much as I could when I play Infection. It's interesting. It's completely new to Halo.
Yeah, because like it's when I didn't realize that there was a kind of a long build up time to use it. So you know that I guess that's the trade off for that.
The build up time is the initial use.
Yes,
when you first start
initial use, and then you can go in there and then teleport back. But wherever you teleport back from, that creates a new portal.
Yep.
And stuff. So like, which I wasn't expecting at first, but once I figured that out, I was like, oh, I can kind of use this to my advantage.
And you can use it as much as you want for like 15 seconds. Like it's a pretty long.
Oh, I thought it was just a couple times.
No, so there's a bar that'll pop up in the middle of your screen. You'll see it here because I'm pretty sure I die pretty quick this this infected run. But there's a bar that pops up in the middle of your screen when you use it. Give me a second. I'm fast forwarding through. Okay, I'm dead. So this is me using it. See the bar in the middle? That there is how long you can keep using it. And you can constantly spam it as much as you want while that bar's up, minus like a little bit of cooldown period for using the item. But again, it only teleports you to where you last teleported.
Okay.
So you still need to physically get somewhere to do it. But at least in this little bit, like right here in the clip, I found out the best way to use it is to teleport somewhere and then surprise people by teleporting back to where you teleported from. Like right here, these guys are hiding in the center. I got a nice teleport on both of them. Done. Actually, I'm not sure how far behind the stream is.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind.
There it is. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I ended up doing that one time where I was it was on the other map that's I'm trying to figure out which one it is. It came out I think last season.
The cliffhanger?
Yeah, because it had the chads and stuff there, and they always go in the back where that turret is.
Yep.
And I jumped, and after I placed it down, I jumped, and then when I was in the air, I saw some bullets come at me and teleported back. And then I was just like, and that's why after I kind of figured out kind of how to use it, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna give it a few seconds, let all my other buddies die, kind of go, and then I teleported back through it and was able to continue on and push forward, and I think I got somewhere or something like that. But yeah, so it's a fun.
It's really cool.
Fun new thing.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's a power pickup. Like it's pretty OP. Basically, you survive every single duel while you're using it, right? Like if you're positioning decently. So it makes sense. It's like replaces camo. But it also what was I gonna say? God dang it. Well, either way, that and the other change, which I think this is new for Infected, is the emphasis on just surviving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I remember right, when I used to previously play Infected games, the last person standing just keeps shooting as long as you can until they die, right? Well, in this, it's like you got 30 seconds if someone sees you, you're tagged, and everyone knows where you are. Survive for as long as you can. Oh, and we gave you overshield too, right away.
Yep. Yeah, which I think is in one of the other mode stuff too. They kind of merged a few different modes together, and which is fine. I guess if you want to try to if you're going to put out one infection mode, because I haven't even seen what the possibilities are for adjusting all the stuff, but if you want to have like one initial launch mode for season 4, I guess you would try to make it a combo of a bunch of the modes over the years, and kind of just how Halo Infinite is in general. and put that out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that makes sense. Did you notice any of like the map changes with the infection ones?
um I just noticed like the sky stuff, or like the taking over the simulation kind of stuff.
So if you see, this is in Behemoth, right? And they completely blocked off certain entrances from getting underground, and they added these tunnels. Just I'm like, what the heck's down there? And I go down and I see like
Oh.
six like survivors just chilling, hiding, staring at me. I'm like, what the
Uh,
heck is this?
there was a in the cliffhanger one.
Yeah.
It would spawn you kind of down in the center of this like one area, and that was
Mm.
really annoying because it was so freaking like
Far.
difficult to get up, because you had to
Oh,
like go out through a tunnel, because you go to all these doors and it was like everything's closed off. Just like, gosh dang it. But I did see some changes.
some maps are changed more than others. Like Aquarius, the entire front is blocked off. So like, and if you go right into like the little, god dang it, the area with the stupid plants, it's blocked off completely. It's like a dead end. So they've definitely made some like kind of like, it threw me off because I played this map so much over like the past 18 months. So when I realized I couldn't go here, I'm like, what the heck is this? It's interesting. They're actually making some decently large changes to the maps here. But okay, in the purpose of moving it forward, season 4, and we're talking about maps. Have you played Forest yet?
Um. Yes, I played for that. Yeah, because that's the one that looks like Delta Halo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one of the I played that and the old map.
Oh, in
That was
Infection.
Yeah, in Infection. That was fun. It took me a bit to figure out my bearings and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was pretty pretty fun though. I say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I
I
have
like
not
the
played
aesthetic.
Forest yet, so I have no. I've tried. Keep on going. I've played like 15 matches since season 4 started, and I still didn't get Forest. Not all infected, mind you, of course, but still, I'm sure I'll get it soon.
It definitely feels like Delta Halo. It kind of feels like I don't want to say like it feels like Sanctuary, because it's not Sanctuary, but it has kind of like that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Especially like one side is like a big, the big structure and stuff that it's kind of like along the side of the map, and then the rest of the map is kind of all various platforms and
In
stuff like
the
that.
in the blog post that came out alongside the map, they mentioned something about like it not being on a Halo ring, but being on like ancient foreigner things, and they kind of hinted towards like some like secrets in the map. I'm curious if we ever really see those come through.
Probably have to hop in the forge on that then.
Yeah, right. What about the big team battle map, Scar? Did you get a chance to play that?
I haven't yet. I was gonna hop into Forge on some of those to check them out. I think there's one of them that I think I played when I was still working at the studio.
Oh,
So
dang.
it was like
Okay.
it was real early. Like, it was blackout early, but
Oh,
I
dang.
think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's one of those maps, but I don't want to say for sure, just in case I don't want to actually spoil some other map. But from the pictures, it looks like it was something that I played before.
No, makes sense. I have not gotten a chance to play it yet, but thankfully, Unishock just tweeted like 30 minutes ago that they're increasing the frequency of Scar in the Big Team Battle playlist, which is awesome.
That's good.
I did play Big Team Battle, and everyone was spawning with rocket launchers. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was not intended. I saw the Unishock's tweet after, and I'm like, I mean, it was still fun, but like, I needed BR kills, and I spawned with a rocket and a BR. I'm not going to use the BR.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I think what it was the heavies playlist, because Big Team Battle now, the heavies is just incorporated into the one Big Team Battle playlist. Heavies is for whatever reason starting with rockets. Though speaking of some playlist troubles, Rank Slayer I think is also kind of not working properly. I played it and I had just normal rank stuff, which is like a BR and no radar, which is not what they said Rank Slayer was. They said Rank Slayer has a radar, it has a bandit, an AR start, blah, blah, blah. So I'm curious if that's also a glitch, or if they changed their mind, or if they're fixing it. Blah.
It might be a glitch. It seems like they are having issues with the that stuff.
Yeah, more. I remember one of the updates. It might have been the winter update. They did have a playlist. Oh, I think it was season 3. They had a playlist at the beginning that only had the new map. That was a good idea. I'm not sure why they didn't this time. Maybe they kind of assumed the waiting for it on Infection is high enough. The people that play Infection will see Forest often enough. And I mean, I guess the real answer is just they don't want to split the player base too much, right? When your player base isn't the highest, you can't have a million different playlists.
Yep, and that's something that we saw even in Halo 5.
Yeah.
They rotated out playlists. That's kind of when they first started to do the rotation. I think. Well, they might have done it 4, but 4 was so long ago I don't remember. But they have that, and then kind of going off that for Mort's question, asking if they or why don't they have playlists for the new maps. I don't know, but that would be something that would be good. That's something that they used to do in the back in the day.
They did it even with season 3. They had an entire playlist with just Chasm and Cliffhanger. So maybe it's because they only had one arena map this time. They didn't want to play this with just one map.
Yeah, that's probably it. Since it is just the one map, while people could go and play that one map, if you just play on that one map over and over, it might get a little bit boring. So that's probably why they don't just have them by themselves. So
okay, in the interest of time, moving forward. See, I told you, man. Quick, to the point. Right. So still in season 4. Now let's talk about the customization, the battle pass. So they did have a stream last Friday where they went through the whole thing, and they actually talked about other stuff too, which I realize now I should have probably made note of and maybe brought it up. I'll go back to it, and if there's something that's worth talking about, I'll bring it in. But yeah, new battle pass, 100 stuff, like a bunch of events, like 4 or 5 events coming, new store layout. What do you think about the customization for this season?
I kind of browsed through it. None of the armor and stuff really interested me. I'm still working my way through the Lone Wolf thing. So when I found out though that it switched me over, I was kind of mad because I was like, "Dang it, that's XP I could have used towards Lone Wolf." And so I'm still slowly working my way through that. But I did see that they're opened up like the different armor colors and stuff like that for for the cores and stuff. So I was happy with that. None of them I used, but I was happy to see that.
The core is now just freely unlocked for everyone. It's not part of the. I think season 3 is still a free unlock, but you had to get to like level 5 in the past before you could unlock it. This time it's just right away. Hey, here's the core. There you are.
So you get all the basic like default armor or whatever of it now, right?
Yeah, so I was actually kind of curious about that because I was having a conversation recently with someone and they're talking about how, like, yeah, sure, it's nice that we have some of the basic armors, but we still don't have all of them. So I was going through this core, of which I'm only like level 7 on the pass, so I don't have like coatings unlocked for it really, and I could still select like 12 or maybe 15 various coatings for this core, variations of like yellow, orange, purple, all that crap. So it's not like the 6 that I thought there was. For a second I thought it was just like red, blue, green.
That's because they opened up all the colors from all the
base colors.
So now you can have a bunch more options, which is something that it's unfortunately took them until season 4 to get to. But
yeah, a lot of decisions that were kind of dumb. I guess based around, you know why? It's because they're still in like that phase of like earning goodwill over earning money, right? When they first released the game, 20 million players, hey, let's make as much money as we can. Let's sell the color blue.
And that's what a lot of it, because I mean, unfortunately, that's like the trade-off of going free to play. And why they're trying to like focus so heavily into HCS and everything, because viewership and all that. So that's where they make a lot of their money, is those cores or those
the HCS bundles and things like that.
So that's like where they sell it. But I mean, unfortunately, the trade-off is that the casual player, which is a vast majority of your player base, is it kind of gets shitted on because like they don't have any of the stuff that they want, and you stripped away so much of the base functionality that we've seen over the past like 15 years.
Yep. Like you'll be an old returning Halo player, and you'll be like, "Hey, why can't I just have my orange skin?"
Yeah,
What? This is
exactly.
weird.
Why can't I just select a couple colors like I've been able to do since
Yeah.
like Halo 2?
Yeah. Like
So,
full transparency, I like the coding system personally, and I think as it is today, Halo Infinite probably has the most variety of customization in any Halo game, which is cool. But I definitely still see the issue with people wanting and kind of just wanting what they had in the past and not getting it, right? Which, to be honest, that's a very common Halo player problem, huh? As we
yeah.
go over the
I
years.
mean, honestly, just like luckily they opened up a lot of the stuff now, so you can buy a lot of things.
Yes,
And
yeah,
so I have like looked at just like, well, there's a lot of things here I want to buy. Some stuff that I really want to buy though, unfortunately, is still locked behind some kind of progressive or
yep, some
progression
kind of
system.
event or stuff like that too.
Yeah, and it's like, man,
Yeah,
it's like I just wanna buy, like, if you really want my money, let me buy these things that I want,
mm,
and do it that way. Like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I don't really care about going through the battle passes anymore. I mean, I do it with Apex, but now I'm even kind of tuning out of that. It's like
yeah.
just let
Especially
me
now that
buy what I
there's
want.
another dopamine progression meter hit with the career rank system.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Like
you know,
that's like what I would care about and stuff is doing that instead of
yeah,
trying to grind through to find a cosmetic that I want after, that's at the end of some of like 90 others that I don't want.
yeah, yeah. Fully, I definitely get it. Though going back to the customization in this battle pass, one thing season 4 adds, which is brand new to the series. Sorry, not to the series. My bad. To Halo Infinite are the weapon models, the variations in there. They're actually made some pretty big changes. Sometimes I feel, um, but more than the current weapon models, it kind of excites me about more future ones. Because right now I think there's a total of 7 or 8 weapon models this season, of which probably 4, I would say half of them are locked behind shop items, right? Because the battle pass has 2, and the events will probably have 2, maybe 3 over the course of the thing. But what do you think? You think that's something they kind of should have done a while back?
Probably. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think that they should have done a while ago. Yeah, I mean, especially at the store and everything. It's like once again, it just kind of goes back
Yep.
to
Yep.
just making some more of that stuff available early on, but they wanted to space it out, or did it have, who knows what the reason
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. One thing I was kind of worried about and ended up happening, which I should have predicted, but during a Spartan chatter like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they talked about how starting from season 4, all premium codings would be cross core. As in, if you get a premium coding, whether it's from the battle pass or from the shop, it's cross core. The issue is their UI or the way they do it still can't handle just one item and have that unlock for everyone. So that every single core takes up a spot, which
Yeah,
means in the battle pass, even though, yeah, technically this purple coding is cross core in the sense that every core has it, I still need to unlock it piece by piece, which means it fills up a fair bit of that battle pass. And the same thing with weapon codings. So like that's a little I'm not too happy about, which is why I think I might put season 3s ahead of this one just because of that. But
yeah.
at the very least, though, they did say season 5 they'll have that all taken care of, and it'll be just one item, which makes me hope that they have enough stuff to fill up the rest of the battle pass. Because right now, like 20 slots are taken by this filler stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think well, and if not, then I mean, the battle pass might look a little bit less, but I think people will be happy that
Yeah.
it doesn't look as cluttered or repetitive.
Yep.
Because I mean, when I was looking through the battle pass, and I was just kind of going through, and after a while, it's just like let me get to the end. It's
Yep.
just like
Yep. A lot of repeats.
So I will be happy that a lot of that stuff will be gone, so
Mhm.
that I could just blaze through and just see what it is. I mean, I usually only care about like helmets and chest
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
or shoulder
The new
pieces.
core is cool. I kind of like it. It's probably the least Halo core we've gotten. Maybe this and Chimera.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I was gonna say we have one that's samurai armor.
well, that's still pretty Halo-esque, though. You know?
Well, yeah, Hayabusa, yeah.
And technically, this is a canon core. I'm not sure if they're still sticking with. I mean, we'll talk later in the show about what they're doing story wise. Are they doing anything story wise? Blah blah blah. But technically, this isn't a fracture core. So somewhere in Halo canon, this suit exists and people use it.
I mean, well, like, yeah, I mean, technically, even Hayabusa is in Halo lore as something
Really?
that I believe so.
I did not know
Think
that.
all the old armor cores or armors and stuff like that, they all have have like little snippets of like different companies that made them and stuff like that.
Yeah. That I
So
did
they are,
see.
but then again, you know, 343 did kind of go through and gut a lot of the Bungie lore. So, you know, who knows what's fact or fiction anymore? It's just that's a whole other tangent. But that's
100%. That is as a big squirrel or rabbit. One thing I keep hearing, especially in places like our Halo or the places with more dedicated fan bases, is they don't want the new cores. They want like the old marks, 3, 4, whichever ones are current in the game. What do you think about that?
About people wanting the older stuff.
Basically, it's like instead of having a brand new core to the series that's like the main core for a season, they want it to be an older core from previous games.
Yeah. Oh, I mean 100%. I think they should bring that stuff back.
Yeah.
They have, like, I always was a fan of the Halo 3 ODST helmet style.
Yeah.
And I like the ODST helmets that are there now, but nothing kind of has that old
It's not the same thing.
Yeah. So it's like I would like to see more of that stuff come back and everything. You know, it's I do like some of the new stuff that they're coming out with, like especially like shoulder pads and the chest pieces, you know, things along those lines. Some of the new helmets are pretty cool too, but I would like, I think the older helmets are a lot more recognizable, and
yes,
I think people
for sure.
really like those. So at least get those out of the way, and then, you know, bring the other stuff later. But,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even mind if it's just like a balance of the two in a way. Hey, one season new core, one season old stuff, new, you know, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
I mean,
alternate it,
yeah,
or just do a complete like legacy job.
Yeah.
When is Halo or season 5 supposed to be set for?
So the ending. So I mean, we'll talk about that later in the show too. But October 18th is the current tentative date. Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. So, well, I was to say, it's like, you know, for you have a season that is kind of around the time frame of when Halo's release, which is like October, September, November. You know, those like 3 months. Release a like a echoes of the past or whatever, you know, kind of thing where they have all the old armors, you know, available.
Yeah,
like,
that'd be
something
interesting.
like that.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. Like when they should kind of do it, just drop them all at once.
Yeah,
and then make it like, and it'd be cool if they just made it so you didn't have to progress through it. Maybe add some stuff so you could make some or do some progression to unlock some cool things, like you know, whatever it may be. But or maybe like, you know, the stuff that you try to unlock and progress is maybe some more of the concept stuff that we've seen like in the books, like or something like that, you know, stuff that hasn't been made but is still part of the old lore, you know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. A lot of cool ideas they can do, though. I definitely think next season or sometime soon they should put more of an emphasis on like rewards tied to, say, career progression. Right now you get the cool nameplate, but it'd be kind of nice if they're also end of the year, maybe like you know what I mean, like the rewards based on that.
Yeah.
But okay, we have talked about customization a fair bit.
I love to talk about it.
Yeah, straight up. I really should have recorded footage of just the whole battle pass going slowly through it. But okay, so we touched on it here. But one thing I was super curious about when Halo Season 4 was coming and no one was talking about it, no one's even asking it, where I'm like, okay, when is it ending? I know it's coming here in a week, but when is it ending? Because that information alone kind of cements to me whether this game is going to have a chance or if it doesn't have a chance, right? Because if Season 4 ended up being another extended season like 1 and 2 were, then it's over, really. That means it's not getting anywhere, right? Thankfully, Season 4 ends October 17th, 2023, which is almost exactly 4 months. like less than 4 months by like 3 days. So.
Yeah.
Which means it doesn't technically mean that season 5 is October 18th. It just means the next update is October 18th. So that's why I'm hesitant on saying like, hey, season 5's release date's October 18th. Not necessarily. Hopefully. that's the idea. But what do you think? A 4-month season, 16 weeks, almost to the dot.
I think that's good. It gives them a good amount of time to work on stuff. 4 months, if you break it down, the quarter of a year and everything, so that way they can, kind of go based off a quarterly
a third
schedule
year,
or third. Yeah, yeah. I don't know math.
No worries.
And yeah, so I think that kind of gives some good cadence and enough for them to do things. Because then if they're able to basically break up the year into beginning, middle, and end, then I think that can help them set up some stuff. Especially you kind of hit all the major kind of the major seasons and stuff like that. Like
I mean, you hit what, June, right? You hit
like
holiday with October, and then you hit like early year, but not super early of the year with February. It's definitely it's not bad time frames.
Yeah. Yep. So you kind of hit the whole like winter and when new games launch and stuff like that. You hit all those stuff. Then you hit kind of more spring and beginning of summer kind of thing. And then you hit like summer into fall, which is kind of like a summer vacation kind of time.
And the October date works well because it's not November or December. As in, hey, if there's some kind of major issue with the game, they're not going to go on break for 3 weeks. I mean?
Well, yeah, because usually halfway through December is like when a lot. I mean, so the studio and actually like Microsoft in general shuts down last 2 weeks of the year.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
you basically get those days off. You can come in and work, or use your PTO to help cover those times or whatever. So typically, though, and especially the week between Christmas and New Year's, like nothing gets done.
Yeah,
I mean, people need a break. It's like
100%.
Some people might not like that they shut down the studio basically for a week. But I mean, I still went in and worked occasionally, but that's because I was.
They give you the choice,
money, so
that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
like for example, when I think of shutdowns, I think of automotive because I mean, heck, we're in Michigan, so or I'm not, you know what I mean. But and I know a lot of people that work at Ford, and there's always the automotive shutdown that happens in the first week of July, which is coming up right now. So a bunch of people, my dad usually takes time off then, or blah blah blah, but they can't work at all. So it's curious that Microsoft does give that option, though, where assuming you have work to do, you can come in and do it. Nikki's muted for a bit, so I am gonna vamp. If you're watching the footage and you're wondering why I'm constantly using a BR, it's because I had a challenge to get BR kills. All right, friggin' challenge.
I just need to blow my nose. I've been a little bit sick, so
no worries.
No worries. Real quick. Yeah, just keep talking.
No, so reading the chat a little bit. Yeah, Winter Shoulder, a fun game mode is. So actually, another update with season 4 and something I didn't even put in the docket, but no, I'm going to stick with it. We're going to get through this quick. I believe in ourselves. This is Nick's forte. But either way, it's Forge got a few updates, and actually, I'm going to hold back on talking about those. All right, okay.
Okay, I should be good now.
Okay, Forge got a few new updates. What were they, and why do you think they have the potential to give us a great action sack?
So I only seen a couple things. I didn't look at the breakdown, been kind of busy, so I haven't had a chance to. It only just came out yesterday, so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 3 major Forge updates. I mean, a bunch of minor tweaks according to the patch notes, which I read through, and I don't understand it. But
so I saw that it looks like welding, like vehicle welding and stuff. Which we got classics like Flapjack Frenzy from back in Halo 5 and stuff. I guess that has been kind of fixed. Okay. I saw a video of that, just moments before starting the stream. That looks like someone showed a video and they're like, "Oh, it looks like it's working a lot better." So I guess that's better. But the big thing that everyone's talking about is the water, which is great. I remember asking him telling him 4 years ago, hey. just all you need to do is just add a plane of water, and people will be happy. And then as
But
I was
it's
sitting
not
there
like
playing with it, I was like, I said those words, but now I'm like, I could be happier.
it's not interactable, right? Like it doesn't slow you down. It doesn't make sound
It's
effects or
just
anything.
it's mainly just for aesthetic stuff,
Okay.
which is fine. You can scale it, but it it just has a constant texture that's like moving, and it's semi-transparent.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they would at least allow you to color it,
Okay.
but you can't even color it. It's just a static thing that
Yeah.
aesthetic
Did
planes,
they
which
mention
is
that they were gonna
fine.
add some dynamicism to it?
Eventually, yeah, they
Okay.
they want to add that. They want to try to do water right, but I think it's gonna be a thing of the engine, and then
Hmm.
also, um, I think that this was just something to give people for the time being, because I think
Okay.
they finally realized like, hey, let's just give them a plane of water, because we already see people making fake water, which there
Yeah.
is a few ways to, which I think people will figure out how to do what they need to do with this water and make it better through like forge hackery. But
Yeah. Yeah. It
uh,
makes sense.
but I'm excited to see what else they do eventually with it.
So the other thing they added to Forge was the blank minigame mode, which I imagine people should be happy with. Like they should like it. Again, I'm not a forger, so I'm kind of just
Yeah, because I think we used to have a blank minigame mode in 5,
Mm,
and that's kind of like what you would do to like basically you can make your own scripts or whatever and connect things to that, so you can
yeah.
update stuff in the menu, I think, beforehand. So my guess is that's probably what it will interact with, is like you could hook up, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, actually for this mode, let's increase people's speed for, this particular mini game or something, instead of
Yeah.
having to go in and adjust the scripts. I think that's what it would work like. I haven't looked at it, so I could just be talking out my ass.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, the first thing I thought of, I'm like, okay, this is going to be, I think, where they build up action stack off of, right? Modes that aren't
Probably.
predefined. They have a ball that has an empty ball. Do whatever you want with it. Things like that. I do feel like they really should have maybe prioritized a mode like action stack sooner, because literally since the very inception of Forge, you already had some pretty cool game modes like Diglett and Duck Hunt and all that stuff, and a lot of the legacy modes from 5 that were recreated. But I mean, heck, 343's model at this point kind of seems to be slow and steady.
Yeah,
And I
which is what
think
they
this
need to do.
update was a little nicer on Forge than Season 3's, because Season 3's broke a lot of stuff, if I remember
Yeah,
right, people's
yes,
maps.
yes. Season 3 broke a lot. And that's why I never really got much into season 3, because I was like, I'm not
Mhm.
even gonna risk
Yeah, yeah,
Forge. So what I hear is like, things are better. I haven't don't know yet. It's only been, once again, a couple days. So uh
I remember
so who knows?
Sean
But
posted a tweet or maybe just a message where he's like, hey, yeah, my map was 100% and now it's 54% budget. So
oh yeah, they just adjusted some of the budget stuff to where they broke it out a bit more of what
okay.
everything means, I believe. But I think there's still a simulation budget and stuff though. So they just kind of made it so it's easier to understand what is affecting what, and where your budget is becoming so massive.
Though speaking of John, he and a few other people just released a pretty cool looking map, which I'm going to show on stream for a little bit. Kingdom, I think it was. And I'm watching this video, and I'm like, man, this music sounds so familiar. Where's this from? Where's this from? And then like the Lord of the Rings theme starts blasting, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. But yeah, Forge is looking pretty cool, which we'll touch again later in a bit. But moving forward with season 4, okay, so this was kind of a big deal for a lot of people, which was Sketch came in and said, and you know what, I want to read exactly what he said, because the wording is always kind of specific with these things. Give me half a second.
Yeah, especially when it comes from Sketch and everything. He knows how to word things right.
Yeah. Oh my god, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, keep watching John's stream. Okay.
It may be a symbol. That one.
Yeah. Okay, Brian Gerard sketch. PSA, as we refined our top priorities and shifted resources internally this year, we had to make the decision to forego seasonal narrative cutscenes to make room for the team to continue focusing on highly requested features, content, and improvements for Halo Infinite. These trade-offs are never easy to make, and we truly appreciate your support as the teams work to make Halo Infinite the best experience possible. While the job is far from over, Season 4 marks another big step forward, and we remain committed to this journey with the Halo community.
I'm glad that they are kind of doing that. I mean, the narrative stuff was always cool, but I'd rather have features than a cool cutscene. Sorry. But.
I definitely fully agree, though. I mean, I'm kind of wondering why it's those two. Either those two, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, so a lot of those, I think, so a lot of those set pieces basically have to be built. So you're taking time away from designers and artists to build those scenes, and then the animators and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe because they have to animate through some of that stuff, we can't get it slows down campaign updates if they're ever working on those still, or maybe it's slowing down progress on getting assassinations back in. Who knows?
So technically, those are not in active development. So I'm not expecting that.
Well, yeah, it was just a
but one thing I was gonna say was multiplayer cutscenes is kind of chasing trends of today, right? You have games like Fortnite, games, I think Warzone. I don't play Warzone or Apex or any of these other games, but I think most of them have some kind of narrative going with trailers or cutscenes or CGI stuff as the multiplayer progresses. It's not something Halo needed. I'm bummed out. And I agree more. Like, we really shouldn't have to choose. But I guess we had to. One thing, I haven't lost complete hope yet. I know a lot of people are taking this to mean the entire multiplayer story is finished. Eridus showed up, he took control of the base, and it's over. It's ended. It's done, right? But Sketch's words were really specific. Seasonal narrative cutscenes. Those were his words.
Yeah.
So the way I'm looking at it is they've kind of gotten away from the commitment of having those every single season, because you could tell right away by season 2 or season 1 especially, but season 2 where it's like this was like way low on the priority list. You had to quickly kind of just get something together really quick, and it's just hey, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's nothing else to it. I do think we'll still see CGI stuff that they'll contract out. But
I can see that. Yeah. Oh, maybe they should hit up their old friends at Blur.
Right? I'm curious who worked on their season 3 ones, because those look sick. I'm not gonna lie.
They do look good. That's kind of what brought me into them. I'm just like, man, this is it's gonna suck to lose them, but
yeah. Well, you know what? Technically, those weren't season narrative cutscenes. Those are different. Those aren't cutscenes. Those are like CGI, blah blah blah. And the truth of CGI stuff like that is they take months to make. Like, way in advance. You got to book those. They take forever making them. Blah 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 blah. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see that, because I mean, you open the game, you open Halo Infinite right now, and the multiplayer backdrop as you're there is your Spartan and Spartan Jin. I kind of forgot his name. I'm not gonna lie. Standing there looking at Eratus and the possessed body he has. That is true. Maybe a spinoff title, but it kind of feels like they're still moving forward the story in some ways, especially when the events that this season's going to have, they're still calling them narrative events, right? They dated all the events for season 4, and it's actually kind of cool. You'll have a week of nothing, and then 2 weeks of an event, a week of nothing, 2 weeks of an event, a week nothing, 2 weeks of an event for the entire season. So you'll always kind of have something for the most part to be working towards, which is awesome for me, because I'll finish my challenges in like 2 friggin' hours, and then I'm like, oh, what do I do now? But yeah, it's not the end. I'm being hopeful. I'm being naive here. I don't think the multiplayer story is cut. I think that it might take a little longer, or it might not be through cutscenes, but I think it's still wow, these people are awful. Okay. Oh, they're it's bots. Okay. I'm like, what is no, actually, technically, another update which I turned on and I actually kind of noticed, I'm not gonna lie, is we did it, guys. 18 months, almost to the day, we got ray tracing and Halo Infinite on console. Oh yeah.
Nice.
And for those listening, ray trace shadows are now available to be turned on for consoles, and at least at 60. Because for some reason I didn't switch to 120, zero performance drops for me, and they do noticeably look better. And by that I mean I actually notice shadows now, when before I didn't. So
Okay.
they're definitely there. I'm gonna stop playing John's video and
Should read the chat. That seems lead to the thing. Yeah, Winter Soldier. The make cutscenes lead into part of the Infinite campaign.
yeah.
Yeah, that was something that they originally wanted to do. I think some of the original plan, long time ago, was and like rumors and stuff like that was that eventually you get your Spartan in
On the ring.
campaign. Yeah, like
Yeah.
on the ring in campaign. Whatever interaction that would be with like Chief and everything. I mean, who knows? It might just be like your character pops up in a cutscene or two or is there to help out or something. I always thought it would be cool that once something like that, or if they could get something like that in, like I've always been a fan of having different characters other than Chief when you do multiplayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that way it's not like
That'd been pretty cool.
four
If
Chiefs
like the
running
player
around.
1 plays Chief and players 2, 3, and 4 just play their Spartans, that'd been
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be really awesome. And I think it was at one point a plan, but
Yeah.
it's just
Things happen.
Yeah, that was real early on. Like real.
Though, really quick, speaking of campaign, people playing Halo Infinite in the last couple of days probably noticed that they had like a 50 gig download for this patch, which is essentially downloading the whole game again. They made some changes internally to the code, and they kind of split campaign and multiplayer. We already knew this a few days ago. But to be honest, I kind of was surprised that they were even connected in this way. I'll be honest, I didn't realize that changes in the multiplayer balancing suddenly meant they had to go back and test the campaign again.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of it was intertwined, even though you could download them separately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like one engine and stuff, and they have. So internally, how it works is they're a little bit of how the sausage is made. It's just like general game development stuff here. So 343, it's not a secrets. Don't come after me. But it's like so there's like internal builds that people work on, and there's different environments that are set up. So you have a campaign environment or a campaign build. You have like a multiplayer one, and then sometimes we have a forge one, and then there's like a there might be like a like we did one for like E3 or whatever it was like years ago.
Okay.
That would be like, okay, every kind of like good change that is done in these other ones that we're testing out, like the builds and stuff for, as long as that we know it works, we're gonna update this other build and environment with those changes to make sure that nothing's broke. And then so it's kind of almost like staging it in certain ways, so that way things don't necessarily break.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's software development, right? You never know what might friggin' break everything, and you got something live. You can't risk. Risk breaking things.
Ideally, you have a new build every day, and like in a perfect world, updates and stuff would come to the engine and everything every day.
Yep.
And people would submit their tickets to changes or whatever, and that'd be updated. In reality, sometimes it could take up to like 3 weeks. That you're on one build, and then people are like, "Hey, we have all these changes. Like, we need to get them through, but everything's like broken and on fire, so we can't." So that's kind of like how it works. So it doesn't surprise me that they finally decided to fully split it off for the retail side of it. That way they can, because that just allows faster iterations for multiplayer. If they don't have to go through the whole campaign again and test everything, then that means that they can get builds faster, and updates faster, and then hopefully get the product done faster. So I think it's a good move they did that.
Yeah, and them even taking the time to do that, right, was a time investment, which means they were focusing on doing that, and which does kind of. I mean, we talked about this earlier, but season 5, with the next update being 4 months, I want to say only, but 4 months is pretty standard, so I'll just say 4 months away, means I think that they've kind of done it. They found that groove, they found that cadence that we all thought would take them maybe 6-8 months to find. Instead, it took them around a year and a bit, which sucks, definitely, because one of the main issues with the game was the lack of content at launch, but they did it, right? They made it, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about the future of the brand. But it's nice to see any kind of change that keeps or that makes things easier for them, period. Because easier for them means quicker content for us.
Yep. And kind of go after what Winter Soldier was saying there too. So how it works is, I mean, it could have changed because I obviously when I was a part of it, it was under the different management and different structure and everything. But typically, the multiplayer team focuses more on like the modes and maps, and then there's a sandbox team that focuses on like the weapons and vehicles and making sure all that kind of works. And then I was like, "What did you just send me?"
Sorry, this is something else. Which tangibly related to this.
And then and then there's the campaign team, and then there's like a narrative team and the forge team. So they all kind of intertwine a little bit, but like campaign team focuses on, obviously campaign, building those spaces and things like that. And then the narrative team kind of, looks at a lot more of the, obviously the narrative side of everything. They probably were involved with the multiplayer to create that narrative and stuff, and how to maybe eventually tie it into campaign. So it's the sandbox team is what would be focusing a lot on the bigger changes that would be affecting campaign as well, because when you change the way how something works, then it's like, well, like the threat sensor or whatever, how are enemies going to use that? How are they going to react to those things? Like, it's like, oh, you adjusted the way that, a grapple hook works. Well, now we got to make sure that, people can't, slingshot out of the map or something like that.
That actually makes
so
a lot of
that's
sense.
Kind of where that stuff comes in to play.
And to be honest, even if it wasn't separated, in general, the campaign should play pretty similar to the multiplayer. So you get a feel for the weapons, the abilities, blah, blah, blah. So it does make sense. So what I sent you was I was having a conversation with a different team member about Halo and its future and the layoffs, blah, 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 blah. Got me kind of interested. So I went back to every single blog post except for maybe the last 4. When Halo Infinite was releasing, every month they did blog posts where they talked to the team, various members of the team, and hey, blah, 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 blah. So I was kind of curious how much of that team is still at the studio, right? Because we know there's been a lot of turmoil. We know there's been a lot of layoffs, blah, blah, blah. So I made a giant Excel sheet after friggin' digging in LinkedIn for way too long, like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, recognizing some names here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna post the image on stream just because it's public data, but still, it's kind of creepy. So I get it. But one thing which is kind of interesting is in the nature of the Winter Soldier's question. So, for example, you had someone who was the lead vehicle designer when the blog post of this released, which I don't have the date here, but it was somewhere between 2021 and 2021, somewhere in 2021. And their current position in 343 is gameplay lead, or something like lead vehicle designer is now gameplay lead. Lead weapons designer is now senior combat systems designer. Like, a lot of these promotions are definitely internal in a lot of ways.
Yep. Yeah, it's usually how things go, or they leave and come back. Like, it's very common to leave and come back. That's what people don't understand is, like, the only way to move up in the industry is to leave your current position, go work somewhere else for a little bit to get another title or whatever, and then come back for a raise and a more senior title.
Yep. You'll work at a place for long enough, you'll build up talent, or you'll build up experience, and you will not be paid what you're worth. with just the yearly 4% raises, whatever people get. You leave because you know what, someone else is willing to offer you a lot more, and then when you come back, you come back. That is so normal. That is so incredibly normal, not just in tech.
And unfortunately, it is the thing. It's like it's a shitty thing that it is, because now
Yep.
you have a culture where it's not a tangent, but like you have a culture now where people don't stay at a job for like they did,
Yep.
for 20 years and
Yep.
stuff, because it's like, well, I just go somewhere else
Yep.
because
You're
this
not paid
place
what you're
doesn't want
worth,
to keep me
right?
around.
So it's like,
Yeah.
why would I stay?
And
But my quick points of with this chart that I saw was I looked at, what is that, 1 2 3 5 7 8 9, I think like 32 or something like that, 32 something like that people. Of these 32
yeah,
people, roughly I think 20 are no longer at the studio. Of those 20 that are no longer at the studio, 1 2 3 4
yeah,
5
a
6
lot of these
7.
people were big. Keep on going. Yeah.
Sorry, of the 20 that are no longer in the studio, only 6 or 7 left due to the very public layoffs that we saw. Is what I'm kind of
Yeah.
getting at.
But from the source stuff I heard is that a lot of the other layoffs stuff, though,
Did affect it.
were from the campaign and narrative teams and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Those were,
when I looked at that, I have this chart broken up based off like what the blog post was, and one blog post called campaign, of which there are 3 people. All 3 are no longer at the studio.
yeah, and
Uh,
so yeah, like people did get cut from that, because I remember talking to my friend about it and
yeah,
stuff, asking him if he was still there, and he's like, "For now, I am," because he wasn't sure if the layoffs were still going to go. But
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of the campaign team did get cut, unfortunately. And but also too, what people don't realize is that a lot of it is contractors. Like
Yes, yeah,
most of the studio is made up of contractors, so it's like a lot of the bigger names aren't contractors anymore. But and a few of them might have been hit, and I think we're probably hit by this. Uh, but yeah, it's like unfortunately that's what happens when you rely heavily on
yep,
contractors.
yep.
Is
And
why the studio is able to be a bit smaller now and be a bit more focused, because they just cut a lot of the contractors.
yeah, yeah. No, contractor work it's America. It's a problem with the entire friggin' country. It's insane. For people who don't know how literally ridiculous it is, you could be going to work one day, and someone can just come up to you and be like, "Yeah, listen, don't come in tomorrow," and that's it. You're done. Like
Yep.
it's that friggin' simple.
With contractor stuff, well, depending on the companies. So I think the tech industry is a little bit better at it.
Yeah, my
And
go-to is
most
automotive
companies
again, like most
yeah,
things.
yeah, and most companies I think will try to give people a heads up, and but also if you're a contractor, usually they have the contracting company has places that you can go to again.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, like my contract ended because technically it was illegal. Uh, the uh, my the people I had were with, I was able to get into another thing like through them.
Yeah.
Shortly after, so I didn't go along without a job. But there was many others that unfortunately didn't have the same luck.
Yeah.
Who were working at the same company as I was, or contracting company, but but some of them did find other positions at other contracting companies to take that. Yeah, but and once again, a whole nother tangent. That is
Yes,
just
that is a
it's such
giant
a
thing.
mess.
Yeah, and one of the hopes with 343 going forward is they outsource more or they partner with other studios more in an effort to kind of combat the friggin' Seattle contracting laws
Yeah,
and
and
Microsoft's over reliance on them.
I will say that 343, just going after Winter Soldier's comment there, is uh a lot of the people that when we were there, because it did come up a lot at the all teams meetings or all
Mm,
hands meetings,
yeah,
is that they didn't want such a heavy reliance on contractors because of just the constant turnover
yep,
of like having to train people up again and get rid of them. Unfortunately, too, why that happens, and maybe now with everything going more to a service, so the reason why you would have contractors and stuff beforehand is like you would ramp up to get a game out and done, and then after that you kind of go into a lull where you don't need as many people.
Yeah.
So that's why they would just, contractors, it's like, you let them go and they can move on to other projects and stuff, and you keep the core team.
Yep.
Now with things as a service though, it needs to shift more to keeping a large,
Exactly. It's a completely different style of development, right?
Yes. Yeah. There is, I think, going to Starfield real quick, Tom Howard said that nowadays, like, what used to be a cycle time of 4 years for a game is now 10 years. You have teams working on games for a lot longer because producers or publishers and stuff are wanting better products, and also it just takes longer to create stuff.
Games are more complicated today, for sure. Period.
Yeah,
right?
And they're more complicated, bigger, and with them going as a service, it's like, yeah, you're starting to see that like 10-year cycle now.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that is, yeah. That's like freaking a generation or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that was a bit of a tangent, but I spent hours on this friggin' chart, so I wanted to talk about it. Okay. Okay, so this is a topic we could talk about for literally 2-3 hours if we wanted to. Let's see how this goes. The E3 came and went, right? Not E3, whatever the heck it was. But Xbox had a pretty good show.
Showcase. Yep.
Yeah, the showcase. Everyone thought it was pretty awesome. It was pretty great. They had the extended showcase, which is also pretty good. Halo wasn't there at all. In fact, Halo had their Season 4 trailer drop the day after the extended showcase, right? Halo's lack of appearance at this event. What do you think? Does that mean something? What does it mean if it does?
Like, I think that they should have showed the showcase, or if they had the trailer ready, like,
which they clearly did because it went to premiere a day later. So that my reason too is I'm like, maybe it's not ready. Nope, it was ready. 343 did their part there.
Yeah, like I don't think that it was that down to the wire to where they had to like pull it from the showcase to give it an extra day. Like, that stuff would have been done at least a few days before.
Yep.
Like, sometimes it does get really close to the wire, but I think with that trailer, there wouldn't have been really anything that they would need to work on. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there was a missed opportunity, but who knows their reasonings. Yeah,
I mean, I fully agree. In fact, I spent a while arguing about this on our public Discord, by the way, which is awesome. Discord.com/something.
/XboxEra.
There it is. .gg. Okay. Which everyone should join. It's awesome. We just hit 500 members recently. But anyways, what was I saying? So not being on the main showcase, I get, right? For the most part, it was really clearly, it was like pretty fine-tuned. Only things they kind of wanted to show. And yes, even though 76, ESO, and Sea of Thieves, all three were at the main showcase, those were all relatively big updates, right? Sea of Thieves had a big story update, and for the first time you can play the game without anyone else in your server, which is a big deal for Sea of Thieves. Fallout 76 had an update that comes once a year. Expeditions, apparently, I don't play the game. ESO had a brand new expansion, which is a pretty big deal for an MMO, right? So I get expecting that. Yeah, so I get that, like, a seasonal update for a game isn't as big as that. Perfect sense. I get it. Not at the main show. The extended showcase, which went on for like an hour and 40 minutes or something and had clearly a lot of room, the trailer really should have been there. Kind of stuff.
Yeah. But,
especially it was a good trailer. People liked it.
Yeah.
So this got people talking about how maybe Halo isn't, maybe Microsoft has given up on Halo, blah, blah, blah. And we've gotten a couple quotes from people throughout the interview, because some people, commented on the lack of Halo at these events. So here, let me read a few of them off.
Mr. Booty.
Well, first Spencer. But Spencer says, I wouldn't say Halo is of lesser importance, but we have over 20 studios now. I go back to the years where I had basically 4 games: Fable, Forza, Halo, Gears, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Weird phrasing. We have a lot more games now. is what he says. And I definitely,
Yeah, I mean that's true.
yeah, it's fully. You know, when Microsoft bought Bethesda, we had an episode right after at the Halo. You had me a Halo episode talking about like how well this is great news for Halo because now it's not carrying everything on its back anymore. Yeah, the flip side of that is that because Halo doesn't need to carry everything in its back anymore, it's also not as important anymore in a way. You know what I mean? They don't need to make sure it's important.
I mean, what if you kind of look at it though, it's like, I mean, PlayStation's. I'm not huge to PlayStation at all. I tell that I'm on a Halo podcast and my background's Xbox screen, lights. So, but it seems like even with PlayStation though, like they're starting to get their other first party stuff going to try to carry that platform as well.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just eventually it was going to happen, and we're just living through that time period right now. And like Fable, Forza, Halo, and Gears, those were the big hitters back in the day. And then now with Microsoft expanding and getting Bethesda and all that, Starfield is looking to be the kind of the next big hitter. Hopefully it is.
People say it's the biggest or the most important Xbox release of the past 20 years, which I mean, I don't disagree with. It's also a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, I was gonna say the past 20 years has been I would say maybe the past 10 years. Maybe, but like
past 20 years basically means since the first Halo game.
Yeah, you have you have Halo 2 and Halo 3 in that time frame. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Past 20 years is clearly an exaggeration, but the point remains though that Halo is not the top dog anymore, right? Which is totally valid. Anyone watching knows Halo's not the big be all end all. I remember there was a quote a while back where Phil Spencer said, "We lost our way with Halo. We lost our way with Xbox." Yeah, that quote's no longer applicable. Things change. Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
But we did have a couple other mentions on Halo. This is something Booty said. Gotta hate the way this website does their stuff. But okay, he provided comments. So this is all about 343. He says, I feel confident in the leadership team, but the team that got us here is probably not the same team that's going to take us forward, which is something we all know. We made major changes leadership-wise. Pierre's in charge. Staten's not there. Bonnie's not there. A few other changes. Live service change, blah, blah, blah. Cuts were a byproduct of challenges across Microsoft and across Xbox. But Booty says the team's current smaller size matches where we're at in the production phase, which makes sense. I'm pretty sure that means, hey, the team is large enough to continue supporting multiplayer content for Halo Infinite. He praised new 343 boss Pierre Hintz for having overseen the cleanup work on the completion of Halo games. Booty says, look at the quality of Master Chief Collection and know that the core team that did that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on Halo right now, which is phenomenal news. I mean, I think that's what everyone wanted when Pierre was brought onto the team.
That was the major point that they always made, is that he did really good with
MCC
and stuff. So that's why they brought him on. And I've had talked to him in person before, and he's awesome dude. It was like really awesome.
When I think of him, I think of something Sean Ben, whatever his name is, Sean something, said the current head of live service on one of the last Spartan chatters. Sean, I think so, yeah. Where he said like the way Pierre's kind of had them thinking is a little different, right? Where it's like rather than promising something and then going to the development team and like, hey, yeah, we promised this, you guys need to work on this and get it done. It's the development team and they're like, hey, what can we say? Right? Like, how's it going? What's ready? What isn't? What can I say? That kind of stuff, which is obviously the better way to go. as a leader. As for whether there's a new Halo game in development, Booty offered no words, but he dodged the question. But he affirmed that 343 will continue to work on Halo, even though other outside studios may get involved.
And he's probably inferring about certain affinity with Tachanka.
Yep. It's not a particularly new thing he's saying. We had, I think, something pretty similar said when Staten left and other people were leaving, blah, blah, blah. They mentioned the possibility of other studios. Mm-hmm. It does definitely mean that 343 isn't being demolished, isn't being ripped to pieces. It's still given support. It's still given time. It's still giving Halo. You know?
Yeah, and it's what people want. I know it's what I want. Like I would love other studios to work on some other Halo games.
Fully
Give
agreed.
us more stories. I love Chief and everything, but like there's a bunch of other great stories out there. And Halo
Yep.
Wars, that was
Yeah.
fantastic story, and like I love those games. And I know there's a bunch of people out there that would love another Halo Wars, but fortunately that probably won't come for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, who knows? RTS games are kind of making a resurgence, especially with Microsoft at the helm. So never say never, I guess.
yeah,
But it does. I definitely fully agree. I mean, the Halo IP is still pretty damn powerful. I mean, there's still a TV show coming out. TV show did well. I know people hated it. Blah blah blah. Either way, giving more studios involved makes sense. And Mort mentioned earlier, 343 kind of playing the initiative role, which is also the Mistwalker role. Back with Lost Odyssey, which is a smaller studio full of leadership team overseeing the development of a game where the bulk work is done by a different studio. Makes a lot of sense for a studio in a state where they have to hire contract workers. Like
because outsourcing and stuff's always cheaper and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, so there's already when I was working there, they were already outsourcing to other places. I think the people that made the Forge port for PC for Halo 5, they were brought in again to help. Just interesting because that was also when the stuff with Russia started to kind of
There was an article from
and they were a Russian team. I was just like, oh, how is this going to be?
There's an article from Ars Technica from Sam at the time too, where they talked about like this Russian support studio they were using that really helped them with like blocking maps or something like that, and them not being there kind of messed with their pipeline, right? Stuff like that. Okay, so the last comment is, I'm pretty sure it's from Phil Spencer. He says, it's either him or Booty, I'll be honest. I remember the quote. I don't remember. It doesn't say who it is. But anyways, we've been pretty public about the leadership change at 343, which of course they have. You can kind of see that in some of the social things the team have been doing around seasons. You can kind of see that. Blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to force them to talk about their longer term vision until they're ready. I think you'll see some pretty cool things coming. A bit of a bone.
A little bit of bone, but also just kind of a generic corporate statement.
And to be honest, with leaks, we kind of know a couple of the cool things already coming. Firefight and Campaign AI are both pretty cool things that are going to be making their way over. Hopefully, at some point.
This year, I don't think it'll be this year.
So season 5 is coming October, right? Which means season 7, which is where I personally expect Firefight. I'm giving them kind of a buffer season to release that, is February, which means season 8 is once again at that June time frame, right around that E3 time when Microsoft does their show. So maybe they got something big planned for that, and hopefully fingers crossed.
It'd be cool if they would around then, if they could finally announce more of Tachanka and stuff. Just be like, hey, this is coming, and then kind of pair up the season with it too. To feed into it or something, like thematically or narratively. That'd be cool. I'd like that.
Tatanka at this point, by the way, no one knows literally anything. Is this developed in Unreal? Is it in 343? I'm sorry, SoulBlazerz. Who knows? CA was always held in charge. Are they working closely with 343? Is it Halo Infinite? Is it something completely different? It's all in the friggin' air right now.
I know what. Once again, I don't know what's out there, so I can't say what I know what it was when it was being talked about and first announced in the studio.
But that's the thing, right? What it was initially and what we heard when Jez was talking about and what it is today might be two completely different things. So much has changed at 343 that who knows?
Hopefully it's the same thing. I think it would be cool.
Hopefully. That's my goal too. I don't want it to be an Unreal. I mean, if there's a developer that can pull off Halo or a game playing well on Unreal, it's 343, but still.
From what I remember, what they wanted to do with it wouldn't make sense for them to go to Unreal. So that
makes sense. Okay, and I think that's basically it in terms of the main topics for the day. And we have a bit of a special announcement, right, Nick?
Yes, that we do. So we teased it last week that it would have to deal with Season 4. And what is the big thing that Season 4 had? Infection. So we are going to do. We are announcing a infection forge contest. Um, so uh, it starts today. Excuse me. Ooh, as soon as I start talking about this, everything just started happening. So it's starting today, and we'll have some more details at a later time. Um, but right now, it's faction contest. You have until September 20th. I think it's the time that we're doing it. So you have 3
Okay.
months to
Oh,
build a
dang,
map.
that's a long time.
Yeah. Well, fortunately and unfortunately with Halo Infinite, you kind of need a lot of time to make really cool maps.
Makes sense.
So 3 months is what gives people a long time to work on it, because we also want the maps to be the contest is going to be a bit more focused on aesthetic, because
Okay.
with infection it's basically like you know you have to everyone knows what infection is. You
Yeah.
hide in a corner, or you survive as long as you can.
Yeah.
So that's like you can make maps, but of course there's also two different types of infection, or two main types, I'll say.
Mm.
There is the linear, and there's like non-linear. So we're gonna have two categories that people can enter into. Linear is more of the uh, like you have a map that progressively opens up, and the non-infected move along, so they have to like wait for a door or
Oh,
something, or
so
like
kind of like those
complete some
old
kind of task
school
or something.
zombie running games. I forgot what the genre was called, but yeah,
Yeah, and so you have to like sit there and defend against the zombies and
that's
stuff as
cool.
they come for you, and then move on. So we know people like to build those and tell stories, so we're having a category for that, and then another category for the more classic style, just like you build a cool map, you run around, you maybe have some places where people can hold out and stuff,
Hmm.
and then uh typically basically what you see in the
In like
infection playlist right
yeah,
now
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff is that kind of style. Because like the decision was made to have these two kind of parallel categories that people can go in, so they could because it's hard to kind of compare both, to figure out who a winner is. So there'll be a winner for each category, and then from there we'll also have second place. We probably won't have a third place for each one.
Okay.
We'll probably have some honorable mentions, just because with doing two categories now, technically our prize pool opens up to four
For
winners.
yeah.
Um, so and also with the prize pool, we're still working out some details, but 343 is going to help out with the prizing,
That's cool.
and
That's cool.
I think some other aspects of this. We're still working out those details, so we don't know exactly what pricing may look like. I'm trying to like talk them into some like really cool stuff, but it but we'll see what their capabilities are. I mean, it might end up just being some some shirts and uh coins or whatever for Halo,
Mm.
or like Xbox Ultimate passes on. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
figure out
Nobody's.
some
We're
stuff.
working on that.
Yeah. But
That's pretty cool though.
I
Yeah.
I think one of the things though that we'll try to do is either have the winners be on an episode of the podcast here,
That'd be
um,
cool.
and or if not, then have a
Like a
featured video,
segment. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
of like their interview, and like an actual video made of their map and stuff like that. So that way we can
Yeah.
kind of help promote the creator a bit more. So we'll be able to offer that. I don't think there's going to be really any monetary stuff with the prizing, unless we have some people that come forward that want to add to a prize pool.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Because sometimes some people out there do that, but right now we're just kind of offering just hopefully cool swag and stuff like that. Other than that, we'll have a forum post about it, and then we'll also have a post about
the rules and everything.
details, like the rules and stuff. Once we figure that out, hopefully by the end of next week, we just kind of wanted to get it out there to let people know, hey, we're doing this. Like, let's start making the maps.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. What was I gonna say? Okay, let me check the topic. Actually, wait, I think that's the end of the topic.
Yeah, that was kind of the last one. We had the Patreon shout outs and any like questions that people have too.
Yep. Sorry, I gotta move really quick. So the podcast, the site, the forum, the Discord, all of it is only ran because of you guys, the Patreons, that are actually putting their time, money, and effort into this. And one thing I've noticed a lot over the past couple weeks, even more so than usual, is holy crap, do the big sites love their clickbait. You know what I mean? And literally the only reason we don't have to do clickbait in what we do, or at the very least, the only reason we can avoid it for the most part, is because of Patreon and things like that. So, hey, thank you very much, patrons. And one other thing is, if you're a patron and you're on the Discord, Jesse does like daily giveaways almost. We have like tons of codes for various games out there. So, hey, join the Discord, join the Patreon. You have more fun. You got a nice little like logo and your name's a different color, blah, 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 things like that. Thank you very much. And this is where I'd usually go to questions, but I don't think we have any. So if anyone in chat has a quick question for us, go ahead and shout it out. If not, we will wrap up. Actually, I should probably check if we have any. We probably don't, but I'll. Oh man.
Yeah. Any questions, stuff they may have, we'll give a minute or two to have them go through. I know there's a delay, so.
One thing that we will definitely say is, last Wednesday we had the community night, and it was a great community night with just me and Nick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was about to get the tweet out for the thing, but yeah. So once again, our community nights, we're trying to get them going. We might start streaming them. We're still kind of working out some of that stuff, but we are doing them every other Wednesday, same time as we start the podcast. So at 7:30, as close as we could get, and then we we want to play custom games.
Yes, that's the goal. Ideally, some of the maps we highlight and things like that would be ideal.
Yeah. Some of the maps will highlight all that. If you have stuff that wants tested or you want people to play on, like that's kind of what we want to make that for, kind of a casual, fun night. If it's just a few of us, we'll head into multiplayer.
Yep.
And have some fun in multiplayer.
And it's pretty casual, no worries. I mean, we don't even always stream it. It's just people having fun. I mean, hey, we talk about Halo all the time. We should play the game too. It doesn't necessarily even need to be infinite, and who knows? Maybe in the future it might not even be just Halo. Maybe it happens often enough that we do what we want to do, right? But either way, keep in mind. So this time next Wednesday, so in exactly a week from today, we'll be playing Season 4, probably.
Yeah, we'll probably be playing Infection and stuff. I know it'd be cool to kind of hop into Infection with some more people. We'll try to get some more tweets out about it.
And you don't need to message us or anything. Just join our Discord. You'll see us right there in the community server voice chat. Just join that voice chat. That's it. I can find a way to find your profile through Xbox Discord integration.
Yep. And once again, our Discord is a lot of where we are posting some of this information for the events and stuff, because Discord allows you to do a nice fancy feature where you could make an event and let people know when the time is, and then when it goes live, notifies those who are interested in stuff. So, definitely check out the Discord for sure, and our Twitter as well. I think we'll be mainly tweeting it out on the Forge_era Twitter. It's kind of what the game nights are focused around is that. So check out that Twitter for updates to that.
Okay, I think that's basically it. Our next episode is going to be on the 5th, assuming we stick with the current plan, layout, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be just a few days after the next Halo Major, Arlington. So nothing's decided yet. I haven't spoken with Nick about it. In fact, I'm speaking about this for the first time. But we might have that episode themed around HCS again, and maybe kind of deep diving into the event itself, because I'll be there. My brother will be there. I'll take hopefully a lot of pictures and tweets and blah blah blah, all that stuff. Yeah, that's possibly for the next show. Otherwise, Nick, any closing remarks? Anything you're working on or anything you want to get out there?
No, I'm working on getting this contest out the door. That's what I'm working on. So,
okay. Myself, we just released a few reviews over on the channel. Check them out. Smaller games, nothing too big yet. But other than that, no, I am just kind of vibing. Oh yeah, I did recently graduate. Woohoo! Yay! Yay! Woohoo! So I will hopefully be looking for a job. That is completely unrelated. And with that final tangent, thank you very much for watching the 75th episode of You Had Me at Halo, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Not in 2 weeks. Next Wednesday.
For the community stream.
For the community night.
Yeah, community night. Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
You all.